Hello, pre-calculus classes. This is Mr. McGowan speaking, and what we're going to do today is work on some angle of elevation and depression word problems. In class today, we just focused on drawing the pictures and labeling them properly. Days before, we were working on how to solve for different parts of a right triangle using trigonometry. What I want you to do today is we're going to work on drawing both the picture and solving the problem. And we're going to, first you're going to play this video, which you're doing right now, and I'm going to ask you to pause it. And then I'm going to have you attempt the problem, and then we want you to play it again and check the solution, and then get to the next point where you are pausing it to try the next part, and go, so on and so forth. So there's kind of a cycle to this. Hopefully, it helps you in understanding how to approach these problems and set them up. So the first problem we're going to work on is a 20-foot ladder is leaning against the wall. So we want to, maybe we'll draw a wall to depict a ladder. So a 20-foot ladder is leaning against the wall. So here will be the ladder. And based on the other information, being 3 feet from the wall, what angle does the ladder make with the ground? So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to write pause. And by the time I write pause, you should pause the video and then attempt to set up the problem. Okay, so we're back, and the material here shows, or the problem shows that you have a 20-foot ladder. So I dimensioned the hypotenuse of the triangle, and it's 3 feet from the wall. So this picture is obviously not to scale. It wants to know what theta is. So you need to recall the trig relationship between the 3 feet, the 20 feet, and the angle. So using Sohcahtoa, always write that down, so that will help clue you in to what the ratio is. Sohcahtoa. I see that that angle, and this side here next to the angle, the 3-foot side is the adjacent side because the hypotenuse is always the longest. So we're going to use cosine. Write down the cosine of theta equals 3 over 20. And you should now know that theta is equal to the inverse cosine of 3 over 20. And using your calculator, inverse cosine, oops, I'm on the wrong screen here. Let me just quit out of that. The inverse cosine of 3 divided by 20 should give me the answer, but make sure you put the information in right. 3 over 20, parenthesis, shows that the angle is 81 degrees. So be careful if you're going to walk on this ladder because that's pretty steep. Okay, so the next problem, I'd like you to read it and try to draw the picture. Okay, so this time I'm asking you to do a little bit more than what I did because I want you to read the problem, try to put the information in the right place, and then when you unpause the video, you should see a solution for it. So I'll just leave that right there in the middle. Please work on number 3. I'm going to pause the video now. Good luck. Okay, well, we have a plane flying overhead. It's above, it has to descend 1,500 feet to an aircraft carrier, and it has to go over a distance of 9,000 feet. So the 9,000 feet is a horizontal distance to the aircraft carrier. So that would be like, this is the deck of the aircraft carrier. Terrible drawing. There it is, it's the tower. Here's where the plane's going to land. So it's got to go a horizontal distance of 9,000 feet, and it's got to drop 1,500 feet. So what is the angle of descent, which will be this angle here? So now I'm going to leave it to you to write up the trig ratio. So I'm going to pause it again. And you guys figure out what trig ratio to use and what the how to calculate an angle. Okay, so we're back, and with that picture, the angle of descent would be a tangent ratio, because the 1,500 was equal to the opposite, 9,000 was adjacent. The tangent ratio of the angle of descent is equal to that ratio. And then to find the angle, you simply use inverse trig, and you come up with 9.46 degrees. So now we're on to the next one. So we have a bow hunter is perched in a tree. 15 feet off the ground. He sees his prey on the ground at an angle of 30 degrees. Whenever you're up above something, looking down, we discussed in class how when you're above, the angle from above to the ground would be the angle of descent or angle of depression. So I'd like you to draw the picture of well, don't draw a bow hunter, but just have someone up in the tree. Just draw a tree and try to label, you know, label a picture with the correct dimensions. And then after you unpause the video, see if you got what I got. So pause the video, please. Okay, so we have our picture here of the hunter, and the hunter is up in the tree, and there's the angle of depression. And now we want to figure out what trig ratio to use. So we're looking for this distance that the arrow will have to fly through the air. So we will, let me just change to a nice color ink here. So this is the distance we're looking for, D, or I'll just call that H for hypotenuse. And hopefully from looking at the picture, you can see that the trig ratio is going to deal with opposite, which is a 15, and hypotenuse. So we're going to use a sine ratio. So the sine of 30 degrees should equal 15 over h. And remember what we did to solve for this, we just switched diagonals. So h equals 15 over the sine of 30. And then using our calculator, we have 15 divided by the sine of 30. And that gives us 30 feet. So hopefully this video has helped you understand how to work through different word problems. And there's one other problem we want you to try on your own. So I'm just going to pause the video, and when you come back, we want you to try to solve that problem and submit that with your form. Okay, so here's your last question for you to try on your own and submit the answer for the height of the tree. It says the angle of elevation is sighted to the top of a tree to be 47 degrees. If the angle measured is 50 feet from the base of the tree, find the height of the tree. So please draw your own picture and work through this problem, and the answer that I'm asking for on the form would be the height of the tree. Good luck, and I look forward to hearing your comments tomorrow in class. Take care.